Hi, my name is Amy Fee, and I have the privilege today of representing the people of Kitchener-South Hespeler. And I'd like to welcome Premier Ford, Minister Romano, and Minister Fedeli to Waterloo Region. I'm also excited to be here today with my fellow counterpart, MPP for Kitchener-Conestoga, Mike Harris. For me, I am fortunate to represent a riding where incredible things are not only happening today, but every day. As CBRE, a commercial real estate firm, reported just yesterday, the Waterloo region is one of the top North American cities with the ability to attract tech talent. We are home to one of the world's fastest growing tech sectors. And it's for that reason, when the global pandemic turned our world literally upside down, that many look to our region here for help. From small startups in the tech industry to large manufacturers and other small businesses, there are just so many examples of our community coming together to help fight COVID-19. Like Shaver Industries here in Kitchener, where earlier this week, Premier Ford and I had the opportunity of meeting their amazing staff and seeing the face shields and the golf cart screens that they're making. In Hespeler, Forefathers Brewery has been making hand sanitizer. Everywhere you look, our local businesses have stepped up to the plate, and we have met the challenges that we face, especially during these extraordinary times. And the Medical Innovation Exchange, where we are here today, is no different. But I'll let them tell you exactly what they are doing to help the fight of COVID-19. And with that, I'd like to welcome to the podium Armin Bakisian, the founder of Medical Innovation Exchange and the president and CEO of Intellijoint.
Thank you, MPP. I'm really happy to be here today. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. Welcome to Intellijoint Surgical and the Medical Innovation Exchange, headquartered here in beautiful Kitchener, Ontario. My name is Armin Bakirtsian. I am the co-founder and CEO of Intellijoint Surgical and the founder of the Medical Innovation Exchange. Intellijoint Surgical develops and commercializes navigation solutions for total joint replacements. Our company started as a final year design project at the University of Waterloo over 10 years ago, and to date, we have helped over 15,000 patients worldwide with our Intellijoint hip and knee products. In 2019, Intellijoint Surgical ranked as Canada's second fastest growing tech company by Deloitte's Fast 50. It is our long-term vision to continue to grow our company here in Ontario, helping to create a thriving ecosystem of domestic medical technology companies in our province, which strengthens our economy, creates jobs, generates intellectual property or IP, stimulates research at local universities and hospitals, ultimately benefiting patients here at home and all around the world. We are so proud to call the Waterloo region and Ontario home. Intellijoint Surgical has learned a lot in the last decade, and in 2019, we spearheaded the creation of the Medical Innovation Exchange, a non-for-profit known as MIX, with the express purpose of paying it forward to retain and accelerate the growth of our domestic medical technology ecosystem. Our innovations are rich in IP, and commercializing them in Canada is of utmost importance to us. This beautiful 30,000 square foot facility houses Intellijoint Surgical, Penta Medical, Vina Medical, and Bloom. And MIX's growing network of domestic medtech companies are sharing knowledge to help our sector succeed here in Ontario and in Canada. We are very proud to be supporting homegrown innovation, research and development right here in Kitchener and the Waterloo region, which is why I'm very pleased to be here today with some very distinguished guests. As our economy reopens, it will become even more important to ensure we have the personal protective equipment, medical devices, and testing supplies that we need to ensure businesses can open their doors safely while ensuring our frontline healthcare workers continue to have access to the medical grade supplies they need. Like many people and businesses in Ontario, we want to do our part to help the fight against COVID-19. Under the Ontario Together initiative, MIX is proud to collaborate with the province and non-medical manufacturing companies actively retooling to produce these critical goods here in Ontario. Collectively, we are moving mountains and are well on our way. But we must also ensure that our innovators and businesses and the people they employ benefit directly from this Ontario-led innovation. The Ontario medical technology ecosystem must be one that develops, sustains, and retains Canadian medical technology companies and intellectual property, and establishes Ontario as a global leader in medical innovation. To that end, it is my pleasure and distinct privilege to invite Premier Ford to the podium to make a special announcement today. Thank you for your leadership, and please join me in welcoming Premier Ford.
Well, thank you so much, Armin, and well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. It's great to be back in Kitchener-Waterloo. I just absolutely love the people in the KW area. I want to thank our great ministers, Vic Fedeli and Ross Romano, along with MPPs Fee and Harris, for being here today. I have to thank Armin and his entire team here at the Medical Innovation Exchange in Kitchener. Some of the brightest people anywhere in the world are right here in KW, right here at this company, and I know Armin's so proud of the team he has here. The work they're doing here is absolutely incredible. My friends, the innovators in this community, the innovation that we see in the Kitchener-Waterloo is incredible. When we needed it most, these people responded. Hundreds of businesses and entrepreneurs work quickly to develop blueprints, create new designs and molds, and even invent new machinery to meet the challenges we faced with COVID-19. Hundreds of businesses innovated, adapted, and retooled to answer the call to manufacture PPE, keep our supply chain strong, build up stockpiles, and fill orders for Ontario-made products. They found a way to start new businesses or keep their current ones going. As we chart a path to recovery, we want Ontario businesses and innovators to continue this trailblazing work, to keep creating good paying jobs. So today, I'm proud to announce our government's Intellectual Property Action Plan. Our plan will ensure our researchers and innovators and the people they employ benefit from the valuable intellectual property they're creating. But most importantly, we want to keep the value of all our homegrown ideas in the province for the benefit of all Ontarians, because too often, the priceless intellectual property developed here in Ontario gets bought up by the big US or international firms. It's exported to other countries. We want that intellectual property and its value to stay right here in Ontario, because our province, we have the best and the brightest minds anywhere in the world right here. When it comes to research and innovation, we're leading the world. And today, I'm proud to announce that we're moving forward with 20 more research projects through our government's COVID-19 Rapid Research Fund. Months ago, we developed this fund to help us mobilize our brightest minds in the fight against COVID-19, because these projects are critical to the fight against COVID-19. Projects like using mathematical models to find strategies to fully reopen Ontario's economy without causing a second wave. A project spearheaded right here at the University of Waterloo. Projects like the one put forward by Sinai Health to develop convenient at-home COVID-19 testing kits. A study by Ryerson University to identify innovative strategies on how we can better care for our seniors during the pandemic. And at Sunnybrook Health proposal advancing 2 different vaccine trials. These are just a few examples of the great work our Ontario researchers are pursuing right now. A few examples of the incredible work our government is proud to fund and support. And thanks to their work, Ontario leads the country in the number of clinical trials advancing COVID-19 treatments and vaccines. It's absolutely incredible. Our government will be there to back them up every step of the way. Just yesterday, we joined our federal and provincial partners in signing a historic $19 billion agreement, an agreement to get our economy going again, shore up our PPE and testing supplies, and fortify our health and long-term care systems. Over $7 billion in supports for Ontario alone for the next 6 to 8 months. We're working with our federal partners to send billions of dollars to the front lines and billions of dollars to our communities. This is a huge win for Ontario, and this is a huge win for our country. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister Ross Romano.
Thank you, Premier, for that introduction. I'm going to ensure everybody knows I took the water on the right. You scared me. I thought I was watching closely. Well, thank you, Premier, for that introduction. Several months ago, we issued a challenge to our research and our post-secondary community to help us in our fight against COVID-19 through the release of a $20 million rapid research fund. And our research community answered the bell tremendously with over 800 quality proposals. I want to start off by thanking Dr. Jack Galdi and his team at the Ontario Research Fund Advisory Board for helping ensure that the most quality proposals were put forward while also ensuring that the integrity of the process was maintained. I am so excited to be able to announce today the release of the final round of funding under that $20 million fund, as just highlighted by the Premier. And this is principally in the areas of diagnostics, treatment, vaccine development, and social sciences. This process has highlighted the critical importance of commercialization in our province. Commercialization, or intellectual property in its most simplest of terms, is about ensuring that the next time we have the next big breakthrough in research, that the people of our province can maximize on all of the potential benefits of that research. We recognize the challenge in this area as a government, and over a year ago, we appointed the expert panel on intellectual property that was chaired by Jim Balsillie. That panel released a report to us this past February that highlighted a path forward in order for us to be able to maximize on these potential benefits of the research we do in our province. That path forward is now being put forward into an implementation mode. And we are here today announcing that the special implementation team on intellectual property will be moving forward on those recommendations. And they will ensure that never again will the people of our province fail to reap all of the benefits from the great research we do in our province that is funded by you, the people of our great province. Thank you, Jim, for the great work of you and your entire team and the expert panel and now our implementation panel. I look forward to working with you. And thank you to Minister Vic Fedeli, our Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, my colleague in this endeavor. And we are going to be working very closely together with Jim and his group to be able to pursue this initiative for our province and ensure that we maximize on all of these great strategies to ensure that we have a Made in Ontario plan to benefit the people of our province. So now I would like to turn it over to my friend and my colleague, Minister Vic Fedeli. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Romano, and thank you, Premier. Throughout this pandemic, we have all faced unprecedented challenges. And today, much of the province is entering stage 3 of the reopening. This is an important step forward and a testament to the hard work of families, communities, businesses, and workers over these last few months. But we know there is more work to do. We need to get more people back to work, more businesses thriving again and doing what they do best, creating good jobs for the people of Ontario. That's why we're here today to launch the Intellectual Property Action Plan. Strengthening our position will be critical to building Ontario's innovation ecosystem and to our economic recovery. As you heard from Minister Romano, the new action plan will help Ontario businesses, startups, entrepreneurs, and researchers better protect and bring their ideas to market. This will contribute to Ontario's resiliency and growth now and in the future. The goal of Ontario's Intellectual Property Action Plan is simple: to drive long-term economic competitiveness. We are taking a Made in Ontario approach by prioritizing IP generation, protection, and commercialization. The people of Ontario should be the first to benefit from our homegrown innovation and ideas. With this in mind, we are also creating the Special Implementation Team on Intellectual Property, which will be comprised of a panel of IP experts. This team will provide advice on the commercialization of research and intellectual property in Ontario's post-secondary institutions and innovation centres to ensure that Ontario is open for jobs and open for business. Our province is already well known for our skilled workforce and reputation for world-class post-secondary institutions and research organizations. We're already a global epicenter of innovative ideas. But great ideas can only take us so far. Now we must commercialize these breakthroughs and capitalize on the substantial benefits of IP ownership. We want to smooth the road from the lab to the marketplace. The Intellectual Property Action Plan will give us the tools to do that. Leverage our advantages to ensure we're maximizing our economic potential while creating opportunity, growth, and jobs in every region of the province. Thank you.
We're going to go to the...
Before we get the first question, I just want to tell a little story here. So we come over here and we pay Armin a visit as a great company. And we have a jewel, and it's called Kitchener-Waterloo. We have some of the brightest people anywhere in the world when it comes to technology and creating intellectual property, artificial intelligence, here, Toronto, and Ottawa. We can compete against anyone in the world, and it's just mind-boggling when you come here. And Armin, I always say, I'm not a real techie guy, but the stuff that you folks are doing is incredible. So Armin tells me the story. I said, how do you get involved in it? And he said, my dad is an orthopedic surgeon. Is that correct, Armin? And, you know, the technology isn't always there to make sure the certain degrees when you're lining up a hip replacement. So everyone knows someone that's taken or has received a hip replacement or a knee replacement. But he and his team, and by the way, he said he has the brightest team, and without his team, he wouldn't even be here. None of us would be here. So he has an incredible team. But he goes on to tell me how they've come up with this, and I've heard this story over and over again when it comes to Kitchener-Waterloo, University of Waterloo, that they create something, and then a big U.S. company or international firms come up and buy the intellectual property. They ship it offshore. Let's use Silicon Valley, bring it to Silicon Valley, and they start expanding and doing more research on it and taking it from Ontario. So those days have to be done. But the thing that I've heard lately, and this is what drives me crazy, so our taxpayers' money goes into the education system to produce the brightest minds anywhere in the world, including Armin and other great people. They create these companies, all of a sudden, not all cases, but a lot get bought up, brought to another country or down in the US. So I said, so where are your sales right now? This is staggering, should be staggering to the people of Ontario. He said, Doug, we do 17,000 hip replacements, the technology for the placement. Maybe, Armin, I'm gonna have you up here in a second to explain it and simplify it, because again, I'm not the health expert or a tech expert, but I am a numbers expert. And if you can zoom into that. USA, 12,573, Australia, 4,022, and guess what Canada has given them? 310, and all the technologies here? Right away, I'm a business guy, and I'm thinking, I'm going where the market is. But the hardest thing is break down the barriers and the bureaucracy in Ontario or in Canada. So all the folks that are working there making decisions, we need to fix this. Keep the folks here. Keep the brains of the operation here. But we support them, and, you know, going through the education system, and then we bail on people at the end, and we don't support them. We have to start, I keep promoting, buy Ontario, but buy Ontario intelligence. technology. That's what we need to do. And it's absolutely critical. As we start these companies, we can't back away. We have to support you. So I'll tell you, I'll commit to you that we'll get you in front of the right people, and it's your job to sell the company and the people, Armin. But what a smart individual and smart people around this area. Some of the brightest in the world right here, and we got to keep them here. Okay, cool. See, I'm getting pumped up and putting my mask on to hand it over to Armin. Armin, do you want to come over here for a second and just quickly tell the story that you told me?
Thank you, Mr. Premier. So yes, our company started over 10 years ago at the University of Waterloo. As the Premier mentioned, my dad is an orthopedic surgeon. He was quite blunt and told me orthopedic surgeons solely rely on their training and their judgment to place implants in the body. Unfortunately, surgeons do make mistakes. So what we did is created a navigation system that essentially tells the surgeon in real time how they're doing while they're doing the surgery. So we tell them what orientation their implant is in, how long the leg is. We want to avoid complications like leg length discrepancy and post-operative dislocations. So our technology helps orthopedic surgeons do the surgery right the first time to prevent any redos or any post-operative complications. We are proud to be here in Ontario, and we are eager to break through the Ontario markets. I think every medical technology company born here feels the same way, and we're thankful, Mr. Premier, to have your support in making that happen. Thank you.
I love it. That's great. Sorry about that. I just have to, we'll take the questions now.
For questions, just a reminder that it's one question and one follow-up.
First question comes from Cynthia Mulligan from City News.
Hi,
Please
Cynthia.
go ahead.
Hi, Premier. Thank you for that. That's actually really very interesting. Appreciate that. I hope your road trip is going well. I'm afraid I'm changing the subject, though, and I'd like to ask you about your government announcing today that they are appointing Humber River to take over management on an interim basis at Villa Colombo, the long-term care home in North York. And I'm wondering, why has it taken the government so long to do this action when clearly this is a long-term care home that has been struggling for some time? And how many other long-term care homes are currently in red zones?
Well, what we're trying to do, Cynthia, is match up the hospitals, long-term care homes, and we're doing it right across the province. And I'm glad to hear Humber River, the first digital hospital in North America, is going in there, and they're going to be taking it over. But as soon as we see things not improving in certain areas, as soon as they hit that code red, we move in. But before we move in, we try to help them get from code red down to yellow, down to green. And obviously, things aren't going the way that we expected them to go with certain long-term care homes. So we're moving the hospitals in there to take over them. And I won't hesitate to get any hospital to take over long-term care homes to protect the most vulnerable people in those homes.
Follow-up.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask again, please, how many homes, long-term care homes, are in the red zone? And you had said in July that you would be announcing a commission, details around that commission. I know we're only halfway through or just a little bit more, but when can we expect more details on the commission, and when will it begin examining the flaws and problems into long-term care?
So the commission is almost there. You'll be hearing about that over the next week or so. We'll be announcing the folks there, and they have a lot of credibility, I'll tell you. And I need answers just as badly as you, Cynthia, and the people want answers. To give you an exact number on code red, I just don't have that, but I promise you I'll get back to you within an hour and give you how many code reds we have right now.
Next question.
Next question comes from Kate Buquette from CBC Windsor. Please go ahead.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, it's Kate Bickert, actually from CBC Kitchener.
I'm sorry.
My first question, Premier, is about the province receiving the $7 billion from the federal government for recovery. Yep. When will municipalities like Region of Waterloo know how much of that funding they can expect, and will the province be matching that funding?
Well, we're going to be rolling that out over the next a week. We just want to make sure all the numbers are accurate, cross the T's, dot the I's. But it was a phenomenal deal for everyone in Canada, and especially the province of Ontario. And I just have to give a shout out to all 444 mayors that stood behind us, worked with us. called the federal government. I want to thank the federal government once again, Chrystia Freeland. She's an absolute champion. The Prime Minister, at the end of the day, had the final say. He made the say, and he worked with us. So I want to thank the Prime Minister and, of course, all the premiers and Scott Moe for his great leadership. These negotiations, when you negotiate within the family, I call it, are always tough, but they worked out for everyone, and it's going to be beneficial to every municipal region, transit, mental health, healthcare, PPE, contact tracing and tracking. So there's 8 categories, and it was just an incredible package, and that will keep us going for another 6 to 8 months. So I just want to thank everyone for all the work that they did, and it's a really exciting time right now.
Follow up.
Yeah, thank you for that. We've also heard from staff in long-term care homes that PPE is being stockpiled. They're anticipating visitors are going to bring COVID in again. And they're expressing concerns that staffing numbers aren't high enough. How can you be sure the exact problems we saw earlier in the pandemic won't be repeated when visitors are allowed back into the homes?
Well, I'll tell you, there's no one in this province that should have one problem with PPE. And if you, after, I'll get someone from our team to give you a call. There's not a message to the 626 long-term care homes. Any frontline worker, if you're stockpiling, you aren't handing out the PPE, then we're coming after you. Simple. PPE. We have more PPE suppliers than we know what to do with. I visited 3 companies that are making surgical masks. I just left Canadian Shield that are producing hundreds of thousands of these every single week. Face shields. I visited another company doing 1 million a week. So PPE should not be an issue here in Ontario any longer. We have it, and there's no reason to stockpile it. And as for the number of PSWs or other people working there, we had a working group that is going to be reporting in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to move forward. And along, I'm going to add something else in there. I've been onto this air conditioning too. We're getting assessments back from all 626 long-term care homes, and all the long-term care homes, folks. If you haven't handed in that assessment, please get it in by next Wednesday at the latest, because we want to make sure that we support you, give you funding to get rooftop air conditioning units in.
Next question.
Next question comes from Lucas Meyer from News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi, Lucas.
Lucas?
Are you there, Lucas?
Okay. Next question.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me?
Oh, go ahead.
How you doing, Lucas?
Thank you. Sorry about that, Premier.
That's all right.
Actually, along the same lines of what Kate was just asking, but for Toronto specifically, given the fact that we still have to wait a little bit on what the allocations are, the city is citing that $1.35 billion shortfall for the end of the year. Can you say if the province will be allocating that much to cover it all?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Mayor Tory. You know, he was instrumental. There's 444 mayors all pitching in, but Mayor Tory made some phone calls to the federal government as well, as did other mayors, but he was very, very supportive, and we're going to do everything we can between ourselves, the federal government, and the municipalities. You know, Mayor Tory's found $400 or $500 million of savings, and I believe that municipalities right across the region. There isn't one municipality, if they come and tell me, I've walked a mile in their shoes, and said, Doug, there's no efficiencies in my place. My first thing is, that's hogwash. There's efficiencies at the province, at the feds, at the municipal level. We have to work together, but we're going to do everything we can to cover as much as we can in all areas. And I just want to thank the municipalities that have been prudent fiscal managers. I've talked to a lot of mayors, and one mayor, I believe it was in Belleville, I hope I don't get this one wrong, I think it was Belleville, that called me up and said, Doug, we actually drove efficiencies, and we have a little bit of extra money, and we put a 0% tax increase. Now, I understand that's not the case for all regions, but we're going to be there. And the people that find efficiencies and have a 0 tax increase, they shouldn't be punished, they should be rewarded. They should be saying, here's the money. So we want to break it up across the province, but we'll get the money to the municipalities.
Follow up.
So, thank you. So that's not a guarantee. You're saying you're going to try to do everything that you can, and I recognize that. But that being said, the the option that's been given out is a possible service cuts or possible tax increases. So based on the fact that the province is going to do, as you say, as much as it can, is there any reason in your mind that the City of Toronto, should see service cuts or any tax increases? Do you see any reason that that should happen?
Well, I want to work with the City of Toronto. You know, they're the, you know, the big white elephant in the room out of 444, and I understand. They're, you know, right alone the transit system that is just bleeding every single day. Metrolinx, you know, they need money. Everyone needs money. We're going to split it up equally and make sure that the people that need it get the money. Without getting into details, you have no idea how hard I worked on with the municipal government and the premiers to get the funding for the municipalities and transit. I'll tell you, it was a challenge, but we got there, and I'm proud of everyone that jumped in there and did a lot of work. And again, we'll work together. We'll get through it. We've been very collaborative with the federal government, with all the municipalities, and along with the province. And that's the reason we've been able to get to the point that we've been able to get to. And that's the reason, in my opinion, we're doing well as a province with the number of cases. And Lucas, I hate to do this, but Cynthia, if you're listening, I just got the sign. We have 3 long-term care homes in red. In my opinion, that's 3 too many, but just think how far we've come from where we were before to 3 long-term care homes, and we're on those 3 homes to make sure we get them into yellow or green. And I just want to thank the frontline healthcare workers for getting us to this point.
Last question.
Last question comes from Randy Rath from Stage TV. Please go ahead.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, Premier. There have been reports from international security agencies that the Russians are trying to steal COVID-related intellectual property, particularly when it comes to vaccine development. They're trying to steal it from various nations, including Canada. Have you had discussions with the federal government about this, and what is being done to try to prevent this from happening?
Well, I believe that in a heartbeat. Not only Russians, I think other countries that are going after intellectual property. One of the smartest guys is standing beside me, Armin, and I'm sure, and some of the people back there, they're working their back off, and then foreign countries are coming in and swiping the technology. I believe it 100%. That's why we have to do everything we can to protect the intellectual property right here in Ontario and right across the country. But Armin, have you ever heard that? Yeah, he's heard it. See, the smart techie guys. I'm not one of the tech guys, but smart guys like all those people back there, they understand that. But we'll do everything we can. I'll reach out to the Deputy Prime Minister to get a briefing on that.
Follow up.
Okay. Yeah, on another issue, the Halton Board of Education has stopped developing plans for part-time school this year because they say that there's not enough daycare to allow people to send their kids to school and then get daycare for them when they're not at school part of the week, because they'd have to choose between going to work and staying home with their kids, so they wouldn't be able to have employment. Do you think that that could be a problem if we don't have full-time school this year?
Well, we have 91% of daycare operators open. We want to hit 100%. So I don't know why they'd close the whole system down if they have 91% of daycares open. And I'd be more than happy to look into that, Randy, in the Halton region. It's a good region. I'll find out what the issue is and address it. But no, you're the first person that's told me that, but I'll look into that. But again, 91% of all daycares are open, and in the next short while, we'll be up to 100%.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. All the best.